dipersilakan.
Okay. Hello and hello everyone. We are from Group 2 and we'll be presenting about sandy shore ecosystem. Okay, next. Okay, let's begin with the definition of sandy shore ecosystem. Sandy shores are low-lying areas and consist of loosely deposited sand, shell, or gravel that cover the shoreline in many places. It's also called a soft shore, which is created by the accumulation of sand particles carried along and over the shore by tides and waves. In addition, sandy shores are exposed between the extreme high and low tide marks. Next. Okay, where can we find sandy shore ecosystem in Malaysia? So the first location is Pantai Teluk Cempedak, or called as Palm Beach, which is located at Kuantan, Pahang. The second location is Pantai Pasir Panjang, Redang Island, Terengganu. It is one of the largest islands of mainland Malaysia and famous for its incredibly white sand and shimmering and also their crystal clear water. Both of these sandy shores are located in the east coast of Peninsular Malaysia. Next. Let's proceed with the sandy shore ecosystem that can be visited outside the Malaysia. So first location is at Gulf Island National Seashore, Florida and Mississippi. Gulf Island National Seashore is a group of barrier islands along the coast of the Gulf of Mexico in the southern United States, located near the Gulfport and Biloxi, southern Mississippi, and near Pensacola, northwestern Florida. Second location is at Padre Island National Seashore, Texas. Padre Island is the largest of the Texas barrier islands and the world's largest barrier island. Oh my god. The island is located along Texas' southern coast of the Gulf of Mexico and is noted for its wide sandy beaches. Let's move on to Daniel. Thank you.
Okay, next we go to the species that we can find on the sandy shore ecosystem. Okay, sandy shore has a harsh and extreme condition that limited organisms to live there. For example, the high temperature that lead to desiccation, low oxygen concentration in the soil, low food source, and strong wave activity. Okay, for the first animal species is the occiput macrocera, or known as the ghost crab. The ghost crab need to make sure their gills always wet for respiration. Due to that, they has fast movement where they freely move from high zone to the water. However, their gill can maintain wet for a long time, so they not frequently need to enter back the water. The most important is the ghost crab has hairy legs where they can collect or obtain water from the soil to wet their gills. Next species is the Boulia Digitalis. Boulia Digitalis is a native species on the west coast of South Africa. Their unique features is they can extend their foot to glide on upwashing swash, like surfing to capture their prey with fast movement. They also can store water inside their shell to avoid desiccation. The last animal species is the Donetsera. Donetsera has siphon that also can act as foot to anchor to the sand and bury their self. This feature benefit them from the strong wave that might push them to the high zone of the sandy shore. They also has hard shell that prevent them from being eaten by predator that cannot break their shell. Okay, next is the plant species. The listed plant species is not actually marine species, but those species grow on the sandy shore and can withstand the condition there. First is the Sporobolus virginicus. They have a suck gland on their leaf like mangrove plant where they can excrete the excess sap taken by them. Next is the Calistegia sordanella. This species has amphistomatic leaf, where the stomata located on both sides of the leaf. Due to that, the species can exchange gas whenever they bury in sand as long as some of their leaf exposed to the air. Lastly is the Honkenia euploids. They have a root that go deeper into the sand. Due to the unstable sandy condition, they need long roots to anchor to the sand shore and prevent them from blow away from the strong wind. So for the overall plants that live on the sandy shore, they must go low to the ground to avoid strong wind that can broken their soft stem. Okay, next we go to Ifan.
Okay, for the important abiotic factor for the sandy shore ecosystem consists of several factors, including the substrate itself, wave, tide, solar energy, and temperatures. For the substrate, by its name alone, we know that this ecosystem substrate mostly built up by sand. Many organisms, such as crab and other dwellers, depend on this kind of substrate to act as their shelter to protect themselves from predators and heat. For the next abiotic factor, which is the wave, help to build up and shaping the topography of this ecosystem. For example, wave will bring along coral rubber and wash it up on the shore, and which will act along with the sand as the substrate for the ecosystem. Next is tide. Tide are crucial for the sandy shore communities, as the most animal that live there depend on tide to bring along the nutrient from deeper area. Filter feeder animal will take advantage of the high tide for feeding, as they are able to filter out nutrients that broke by the tide to stay survive. For the solar energy, it will highly affecting the other abiotic factor, which is the temperature. The animal in the sandy ecosystem cannot survive if the temperature are too high or too low. For example, sea turtle hatchling cannot hatch if the temperature are extreme. The outcome of a green sea turtle hatchling sets also depend on the temperature, as a lower nest temperature of 28 degrees Celsius or below will produce mostly male sea turtle, as the higher temperature of 31 degrees Celsius or above will produce mostly female hatchling. Solar energy also important because sandy shore plantations such as Sporobolus, Virginicus, and Honkinia peploides need sunlight to perform photosynthesis for growth and to thrive in the ecosystem. Next.
Okay, hi. Our case study we choose about sandy shore ecosystem and the threat facing them, and some prediction for the year 2025. This paper is published in 2001 by Cape Town, South Africa University and College of Science Sultan Qaboos University, Oman. This is the summary of the what factor that affected the sandy shore ecosystem. This include short-term and long-term factor, which is for the short-term factor is include storm, pollution, fishing and recreational activity. For the long-term, they emphasize on global warming, human pressure by human activity, and ozone depletion. Their prediction on towards the 2025 is more on the global warming, which in this paper they emphasize that the temperature rise will be slow and gradual. However, due to now we know that the temperature rise is almost 1 Celsius. So the next one is direct human pressure. This is due to the increased human population and they need a place to live in, so they need to urbanize the coastal area. And lastly, for ozone depletion and increase of UV radiation, in this paper they discuss that these factors does not affect the sandy shore directly, which however they affect the biotic organism living in the sandy shore. That's all from us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Group 2. So now I call upon Group
Thank you,
16 for their presentation.
All right. Can everyone hear me?
Loud and clear?
All right. Thank you, Dr. Mel. And hello. I'm Wong from Group 16, and we will be presenting about the intertidal and the polar region. Next slide. So the definition of intertidal zone is the intertidal zone is the area
where the ocean meets the land between high and low tides. So basically, of intertidal zone, which is rocky shore and sandy shore. And then this rocky shore and sandy shore is covered by other groups already. So we are going to through a summary of both of these types lah. Oops, sorry. So first of all, as you can see, both rocky shore and sandy shore is actually have 4 types of zonation, which is splash zone, high zone, middle zone, and low zone. So as you can see on this on the center of the graph, there's actually a submerged level. So on the lower zone, on low zone, we have a high submerged level. On the middle zone, and then the splash zone, we have the lowest submerged level. So this zonation actually impacts the distribution of the marine organism and their behavior. So as you can see on the next point, so for organism, we can see that benthic invertebrates and kelp forests actually are more prone to live in lower zone. And then for middle zone, we can see that mussels, anemone, and hermit crab are very highly distributed there. And for the higher zone, on the rocky shore, we can see that barnacles and limpets. And of course, for the splash zone, we will be seeing limpets more frequently. So basically, this organism, they have their own adaptation to the vigorous condition of the intertidal zone. So all of these marine organisms, either they have a hard shell which can withstand the wave breaking energy and also can use it for storing waters. And after that, mobile. They are either mobile, so they can move into under rocks and move from predators, and also they can hold on to substrate. So like limpets and barnacle, they can hold into substrate so that they can counter the wave breaking energy from the wave. And also, last but not least, we have they have the behavior of burrowing in sand, such as for cacing. So some of the organism burrow in the sand to avoid overexposure and also to counter the tidal wave of the ocean. So the factors affecting intertidal zone or the abiotic factor that are present in the intertidal zone is firstly is wave. So the wave breaking energy affect the survivability of the organism there. So if they are not hard enough and they cannot withstand the energy, they will be crushed by the wave breaking energy lah. So and then wave also changes the physical structure in the area, which means they can move the beach higher, or they will move the zonation lower. So for the next point is salinity. So salinity, daily tidal fluxes causes huge change in salinity. So every tidal change will change the concentration in salinity. And then for the tides, they change the organism behavior in the intertidal zone. So when tides changes, it will affect the exposure and the temperature of the area in the intertidal zone. So basically, this will affect the marine organism behavior, how they live and how they undergo their life process. And last but not least, substrate. So in this area, there are so many substrate that are available in the intertidal zone. As such, in rocky shore, we have many rocks that can be substrate for the organism to hold. And also on the sandy shore, there are sands and stones that can be found. And also things such as dead corals can also be substrate. for the marine organism to live lah. So for the next one, I will be giving the mic to Alif.
Hello everyone. Okay, so now I will present about the news or the recent studies that were done. So at the first box here, you can see that was this new study during 2018, which stated that loss of intertidal ecosystem exposes coastal communities. So this is a study that this is the first study that was done using artificial intelligence and extensive satellite imagery have to map the intertidal areas. So it was done by the University of Queensland and University of New South Wales, which have shown that.
We lost you.
So
Who's speaking?
I will take over for him. So for as you can see on the first, right, he's back.
Sorry.
We
Continue.
lost you, Alif, for a while. Can you repeat?
Oh, okay. So this study were done by using 700,000 images from the satellites, and it costs around 1 million hours to compute the whole picture, and by using 20,000 machines from Google. So this study have given us the map of the intertidal ecosystem and intertidal areas, and it also shown us the decline of the intertidal ecosystem around 16% between 1984 to 2016. So the next box is about DOE or Department of Environment, which given a statement about the oil spill at Port Dickson during 2020. So it says here that it takes 2 months to sample the oil spill from Port Dickson, which to see the impact of the oil spill to the area. So this is one of the major disaster that once happened at Malaysia lah, about at the intertidal communities. So that's all from me. So next.
So next, hello.
We are here.
Hello, can you guys? Okay.
Dengar, Man, dengar.
Okay.
Dengar, Man. Hello, Man, dengar.
Okay, dah Yazid. Okay, I will continue about the polar region ecosystem. So the definition of polar region is an area around the North Pole and the South Pole, and it consists of Arctic and Atlantic. So next, I will tell about the specification of the Arctic and Atlantic. So for the Arctic, is northernmost part of Earth, and it's an ocean that covered by a thin layer of sea ice and surrounded by land. The mean depth of this of Arctic is 1,800 meter. So the next one is the Atlantic specification is the southeast part of polar region and narrow the continental shelf. The depth is from 4,500 to 6,500 meter. So the location about the polar region is located at Arctic and Atlantic at Somerset, Greenland and Ross Archipelago. So the key abiotic factor that affecting this ecosystem are temperature, sunlight, and ocean current. So first of all, for the temperature, they function to maintain the top layer of ground to remain frozen. And the next one, for the sunlight, it can limit the daylight at polar region over the years, thus limit the plant growth at this ecosystem. So the last one is ocean currents. Ocean current help them by carrying nutrient and food supply along the ecosystem. So the next one, I will talk about the marine organism that found in this ecosystem. and we divided into Arctic and Antarctic organism. So for the Arctic organism, for plant, we choose Arctic poppy, or known as Papaver radicatusum, and bearberry, known as Arctostaphylos alpina, as the plant, because for Arctic poppy, it has the adaptation like hairy stem to retain heat, and the flower also can track the sun to maximize the amount of sunlight it receives. So for bearberry, it has the fine silky hair to help them keep it warm, and it also have the leathery leaf are also an adaptation to the cold. So for the animal at the Arctic, we have narwhal, or known as monodon monoceros, because it has the adaptation like it has the thick layer of blubber that retain heat. For your information, blubber is the adaptation that they have to retain their heat in the cool ecosystem. So the last one is beluga, or known as Delphinapterus leucas. It has the adaptation like it has the unique features like it has a very thick layer of blubber and relatively small tail flap and pectoral flippers. Also absent of a dorsal fin. So the next one about the marine organism at Antarctic, and the case study I will pass the floor to Faris.
Okay, for the Antarctic organisms, for the plants that we chose are Antarctica hairgrass, which is Descampsia antarctica. It has deep root system that keeps them well anchored within their habitats and allow them to absorb water and nutrients from their environment. The hairgrass makes them easily withstand freezing temperature. And the next plant is the Antarctic pearlwort, Colobanthus quitensis. It has cushion-like appearances and can grow up to 5 cm in height. It relies on wind to keep them pollinated. For the animal is that the chin-strap penguin, Pygoscelis antarcticus, able to withstand extreme cold due to insulation provided by their feathers. They also have a thick layer of fat, which is a blubber, serve as storage for their energy. Leopard seal, or their scientific name, Hydroga leptonix, have a sleek and streamlined body that is very muscular and blubber to live in cold place. They have slits for their noses to keep water up when diving. Penguin only can be found in the Arctic, but there is some explorers. This is the additional information that try to bring them to the Antarctic. However, the penguin cannot survive in the ecosystem and died after brought to the Arctic. And the most northern living penguin is in the Galapagos area in the Greenland. Okay, next slide. Okay, this is news related to the Arctic and Antarctic. Warming at the poles will soon be felt globally in rising seas, extreme weather by National Geographic. Okay, what's important from this news is that the Arctic warming is accelerating in next 2 to 4 decades if mitigation isn't done. And the Arctic is warming faster compared to the Antarctic. This is because the Antarctic is surrounded by vast oceans that can absorb more heat. The sea level rise due to the more hotter temperature may raise more than 3 feet of water at the end of the century at the Arctic area. In 2019, summer sea ice shrank to its second lowest extent since it recorded in 1979, and it shrinks more than 10% a decade over the past 40 years. And the shrinking is faster than current climate model. This phenomenon may cause the ice to disappear in 20 to 25 years and may cause more extreme weather to happen in the Arctic polar region. That's all from us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Group 16. Well done. I call upon the next group, Group 9. not quite Irfan. We have the last group,
Hello.
15.
Hello. It's quite rainy. It's just started rainy. Can you hear my voice? Clear?
So far, so good. Just get ready. Yep.
Okay. I'm nervous.
Don't be nervous.
Nampak tak slide?
The purpose is to share.
Nampak?
Wait.
Sure.
Sekejap. What the fuck? Okay, dah.
You're being recorded, and this will be on YouTube.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
Masuk YouTube. Alamak.
Jom tutup kamera.
Kita kena sekali Aziz.
Huh?
Without editing, yeah. So go ahead.
Okay.
Kena lagi sekali.
Okay, start.
Wow, impressive entertainment, yeah. Impressive introduction.
Okay, next. So, hello guys. So we are from group 9. Today we're going to present about the open ocean. Who are presenting is me, Najwa. We got Yazid, Elisa, and also Ruzana. Thanks. Okay. Okay, so the definition of open ocean. Open is marine ecosystem, also large zone, and it is highly diverse and have a dynamic ecosystem that contain a wide variety of life. So it extends from the edge of continental to the column. Contains approximately 65% of the volume of the world ocean. Okay. So the open ocean zone generally refer to the upper 200 meters of water column, and open ocean comprises of many layers of water column. Here it is important to highlight that seafloor is not included in the open ocean. So move on to the location of open ocean in Malaysia. As we know that open ocean is the largest marine ecosystem. So here we state two familiar sea which just around here. So the first one is South China Sea and the next one is Strait of Malacca. So for the location of open ocean of outside Malaysia, we could Caribbean Sea. And now let's move on to
So, next is the marine organism. So first we have the planktonic organism. Planktonic organism, they are organisms that float freely with the water current. They are the foundation of the aquatic food web. They are also known as the primary producer, and it consists of phytoplanktons and zooplankton. So for planktonic organism, we can see there are diatoms, dinoflagellates, and copepoda. So first, diatoms, they are species found in sediment or attached to solid substance in all waters of Earth. And they also serve directly or indirectly as food for many animals. And some of them have been harvested to use in production, such as insulation and paints. And then the next one, we have the dinoflagellate. Dinoflagellate are one-cell aquatic organisms that have two unsimilar flagella. They also having characteristic of both plants and animal. Some of dinoflagellate can also be found in freshwater habitats. Dinoflagellate also known to produce some of the bioluminescence in the sea that we can see during the night. And some of Dinoflagellate also reproduce very rapidly that it become an algae bloom. Such example is the red tides. And they also can be known to be poisonous. Next one, we have the copepod. They are great ecological importance. They providing food for many species of the fish. They are the free-living marine forms, and they are also the key components of marine food chains. Some of copepod are known to be parasitic, such example, water fleas. Next, we have the nekton. Nektons are organisms that are independently living in the ocean. They can move against the current ocean. They can be in on the upper layer or the bottom layer of the ocean. Example of nektons we have here. The first one is the Atlantic bluefin tuna. So Atlantic bluefin tuna is one of the largest and fastest world fishes. The shape, they are torpedo and streamlined bodies are built for speed and endurance. Their color, metallic blue on top and shimmering silver white on the bottom, helps camouflage them from above and below. And their appetites are very voracious and they push their average size to a whopping 6.5 feet in length and 550 pounds. Next, we have the white-tipped shark. They are mostly found in tropical water. They have a long pectoral fins and large rounded first dorsal fins. They are known to be colored with white below and olive gray, brown or bluish. And the last one, we have the swordfish. They are mostly abundant in Indian Ocean, the Pacific, Atlantic. They are large, highly migratory predator fish, distinguished long, flat, pointed bill. They are carnivorous, and they also known to have a special organ next to their eyes to heat their eyes and the brain, and these organs are known to be as dorsal rectus muscle. They have been found in a shark and a few other type of fishes. Then we move on to the next slide.
No? Okay. So the physical features of an open ocean. So the first one is the solar energy. So solar energy is very important to the primary producers of the open ocean, which is phytoplankton. The energy produced by these primary producers are the base of the entire marine food web. And the second one is current. Ocean currents help distribute larvae and eggs of marine organisms. Currents also help in transferring nutrients, like some of the example of the process is upwelling and downwelling. So what current do is that it regulates the Earth climate. So this, in simple words, it can avoid tropics from becoming too hot and also avoiding polars from getting too cold. So the third one is salinity. The salinity of the ocean influences its density. So as we know, high water salinity is denser and heavier, and this will sink below less saline water. So this affects the movement of the ocean current. Salinity also have effects on the open ocean community. Some species have specific optimal tolerance of salinity, while some can easily adapt. So the fourth one is nutrient. Nitrogen and phosphorus stimulates the primary production by phytoplankton in the ocean. Primary producers pass nutrients to consumer organisms, then it gets returned to the ocean through decomposition of waste and organic matter. And then we have wave, which are disturbances caused by movement of energy through the ocean water. Wave performs a vital role in transporting energy. One of the examples is that energy contained in the air of an oceanic storm is transferred across the air-sea interface to produce choppy random wave motion. So there we can see that energy is being transferred. So the last, So the next one is oxygen. Oxygen is used for respiration by marine organisms. It is also used during the decay of oxidation of organic material in the ocean, which will then be deposited on the ocean bottom. And then we have water clarity. Water clarity acts as a medium between solar energy or light and the prime producers. So high water clarity means more penetration of light, which is beneficial to the primary producers. And the last one is temperature. So temperature gives effect to chemical processes, physiological functions, and also water density. So if temperature is high, organisms either migrate or they will die in the area. So one of the effect that temperature has is on the oxygen level of the open ocean. So this is because warm water holds less dissolved oxygen, which will cause the oxygen level in the open ocean to decrease. Okay, let's.
Okay, so I'll be talking about the unique characteristic of open ocean, also known as the adaptation. So first, the planktonic organism. So the first factor that they have to consider is how do they stay afloat. So first, they have flat bodies and equipped with spine. So this allows some species to increase the surface area of their bodies and also minimizing volume at the same time to resist from sinking. Okay, next one is the production of oil. So many organisms, for instance, copepods and also diatom have oils to keep them afloat at the epipelagic zone. Second factor is predators and prey. How do they survive from predators? First is the coloration and camouflage. So zooplanktons, they have transparent bodies, bright colors, bad taste, red coloring in deeper water, and also cyclomorphosis. So, okay. This is cyclomorphosis, which is the change occurring in the planktonic population when when predator release chemical in the water that signals the zooplankton, such as rotifers and clanocyrans, they increase their spine and also their protective shield. Next one is nectants, which is how do they swim in the pelagic zone, which is they have a streamlined body, which reduces the friction of movement to a minimum. Thus, it decreases overall drag. Okay, the next one is they equipped with swimming bladder. So they have balloon-like internal organs that contain gas. They can fixate the amount of gas in the bladder, which helps them to move up and down throughout the water column. The next one is a system of muscle for movement. So muscle contraction ripple through the body in a wave from head to tail. So the contractions whip the tail and fin against the water to propel the fish through the water. And next is how do they camouflage? So camouflage is exceptionally challenging for pelagic organisms since they have featureless nature such as rocks or corals. So they have two strategies to adapt in this ecosystem, which are first transparency and also mirrors. So transparency is common in animals in the open ocean, especially those who live in relatively shallow waters. It is found in plankton of many species and also larger animals such as jellyfish and also salps. As we can see here, the upper picture is a sea wasp that is transparent because it has a refractive index same as the seawater, giving them almost perfect camouflage. So as organisms that are not able to achieve transparency, they can imitate effectively by silvering to make an animal's body highly reflective, which is the mirroring strategy. So at medium depths of sea, light comes from above, and so a mirror orient vertically makes animals such as fishes invisible from the side. So yeah, next one. So the last one is the case study. So the case study that we found is the Oceanic spawning ecology of freshwater eels in western North Pacific. So the study was conducted to study about Japanese eel, also known as angulate eels, on their spawning location, which is the ocean, rather than a place that they spend most of their lives at, which is the freshwater. So why do they travel almost 5,000 kilometers across the Atlantic Ocean just to spawn? So this is because of molecular phylogenetic research suggests that angler eels originate from deep ocean midwater marines, such as gulper or snipe eels. So angulate eels, they left the tropical ocean to colonize the temperate areas and spend their time there during their juvenile growth period. And also, despite their change in places that they used to live, the angulate is also observed to still migrate back to the ocean about 300-meter depth during the new moon's night of each month. So the spawning occurred during darkness of new moon nights that would reduce the chances of predation for both adults and eggs. So the picture on the slide is the angler eel. Yeah, that's why. Okay, next. That is all from us.
Well done, Group 9. Nice one. Okay, and so for the last group, for Group 15, I will be sharing the screen since they did a pre-recording. All right. Are you guys able to see my screen?
Yes,
Yes.
teacher.
Okay.
To our lecturer, Dr. Mel and fellow friends.
Can you guys hear?
We are from Group 15.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
To present about hydrothermal vent. Hydrothermal vent is likely a hot spring on seabed. The formation of hydrothermal vent is at a place where the seawater meets with magma. The fluid of hydrothermal vent temperature can reach about 400 degrees Celsius, but it does not boil the water because of extreme pressure of deep ocean. Minerals at hydrothermal vent become solid and forming chimney structures. Formation of sulfide minerals formed when mixture of hot hydrothermal fluids with the nearest freeze seawater. Hydrothermal vent also can be as a natural plumbing system because of the heat transportation and chemicals from the Earth's interior. Hydrothermal vents can be found in areas consist of volcanic activity and the magma is close enough to the surface to heat the fluids. From the picture shown in the slide, hydrothermal vents can be found in both the Pacific and Atlantic Oceans at the underwater depth in about 2,100 meters. They are also concentrated along the mid-ocean ridge. Organisms that can be found at the hydrothermal vent, such as Bactimodulus alligators, which is the giant mussels. The giant mussels do not have gut and functional digestive system. Mussels rely on a close, living relationship symbiosis with the bacteria for their nutrition. In this symbiosis, bacteria use chemicals from the hydrothermal fluid and seawater to produce organic compounds, while the mussels provide the bacteria with essential compounds and protections. Next is Kiwa Hirosuta. These crabs belonging to the genus Kiwa are widespread marine creatures that live near the hydrothermal vents. They feed mainly on the abundant chemotrophic bacteria on the hair-lined bellies. The females with egg move farther away into the cooler water, likely to protect the embryos lying in their bellies. Juveniles also are found in the cooler water. Their hairy arm is a great adaptation, which is increase the surface area to grow the bacteria and to capture microorganisms and nutrients. They also might act as a sensor to find mate and scavenge food. Furthermore, giant tube worms also can be found, which is Riftia pachyptila. Giant tube worms can reach 8 feet in length and 1.6 inch in diameter. They have soft, colorless body hidden inside, hard tube made of chitin. They also do not have eyes, mouth, and stomach. Three adaptations of Riftia pachyptila are the ability to retract their plume, chemosynthesis, and heat resistance. They are adapted to life in extreme conditions. It can withstand pressure of 2 pounds per square inch and rapid change in water temperature. The tube worms pull in its plume to protect it from shrimp and crabs. They can pull their plumes in far enough so predators cannot reach or consume them. Next is Thermasis severus. The zoarctic fish live in and amongst the riftia tube worms and around the hydrothermal vines. The riftia are not bothered at all by the zoarctic because the zoarctic just help clean them and keep the parasites and things off them. Like the clownfish helps the anemone. Surprisingly, these ray-fin marine creatures are the top predators of the marine creatures that live near the hydrothermal vines, feeding on anything from mussels to smaller tube worms. Next one is Glucan Octopus hydrothermalis. It is the only octopus species currently known to inhabit hydrothermal vines. This small-sized octopus with a pear-shaped mantle of up to 56 mm long. Its body is nuclear and semi-translucent. Also lacks an insect and making it well adapted for life in that extreme habitat. In addition, there's no plant at the hydrothermal vines because no sunlight there for doing the photosynthesis process. There are 6 abiotic factors in the hydrothermal vent ecosystem. The first one is temperature. The temperature can affect the chemical composition of hydrothermal vent fluid. Next, nutrients. Nutrients are an important abiotic factor in the formation of hydrothermal vent ecosystem. Without the nutrients that spill from the black smokers or chimneys, the animals that grow in the hydrothermal ecosystem will not be able to grow. Then, salinity. Fishes have venting temperature well below those of black smokers or have invisible bottom temperature. After that, substrate. They have many minerals are formed at the hydrothermal vents that are important for the surrounding ecosystem. Copper and zinc are a few important minerals found in the vents. Tectonic plates also are important abiotic factor in the formation of the hydrothermal vents. Hydrothermal vents are usually formed along the boundaries of divergent tectonic plates. Lastly, the color. The color actually like scientists know what chemicals the vents are comprised of. Lastly is the case study. This case study from the Montreal Aquarium Research Institute is about how a new finding have changed the current theory about colonization in the deep sea vents. The article stated on how 2 different hydrothermal vent fields that were discovered in the southern Gulf of California house different animal communities even though they are relatively close to each other, which contradicts the scientists' assumption that both vents share the same or similar animal communities due to the short distance between them. The scientists from the institute in other countries has analyzed collected organisms and video surveys from the hydrothermal vents in Beluga rights and Pescador Basin to determine the community composition. They also made DNA analysis of the water samples to identify the larvae of vent animals and stable isotope analysis to assess food supplies at both vents. By comparing the animals living from both vents, scientists found that only 7 out of 61 animal species can be found in both vents. The result shows that the local geology and chemistry of the vent fleets may affect the composition of the animal community in the Electrovites and Pescadero Basin.